Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is C. Divya Prem Trikoti. I am the immediate past chairperson of Amravati branch. I heartily welcome all to today's session on timelines and process of peer review, how to file Form 1 and other requirements organized by peer review board. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our chairperson of peer review board, CCMCA Vishnu Kumar Agrawal sir, Vice Chairperson C. Dayanivas Sharma sir, and our speaker for today, C. Unmesh Nivarkar sir, past Chairperson of Vasai branch. Our Chairperson, Peer Review Committee Chairperson Vishnu Kumar Agrawal sir is with us. He is very actively involved for the professional development of all the CA members all across India. We heartily welcome you, sir. He has been chairing many other committees. This time he's chairing peer review board. So we heartily welcome you, sir, for today's session. I would like to request CA Vishnu Kumar Agrawal, sir, to please say some welcome remarks for today's
Thank you,
session.
madam. Thank you, madam. Respected speaker of today's webinar, CA Umesh Narvekar, my very good friend from Mira Road, Mumbai. Today's moderator, Divya ji, the past chairperson of the Amravati branch, all the senior in the profession, ladies and gentlemen, friends. From this year, we have started the webinar for my all the esteemed colleagues because my most of the firms are under the peer review, and when peer reviewer come for the peer review of the particular firm, he noticed so many small things where my chartered accountant firms not keep the documentation parts at the time of the assurance and the certification works. So we thought that why not every Thursday we do one very good program for benefit of my each and every chartered accountant across the country. And today we have invited Umesh Bhai for the how to fill form number one, because when form number one is filled up by my chartered accountant, so many things not appearing properly. That's why 3 to 4 times again and again they fill up the form. So we have decided to do this particular webinar program for benefit of all the members. Friends, today I am at the income tax office, so I will not, I'm not taking much of the time because in the one of the department office, I'm joining this particular program. So my best wishes with you for this particular program. I'm always with you. So my best wishes to Umesh Bhai, Divyaji, and each and every participation. Thank you, friends.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, आपने हमारे लिए specially you took your time and came to join and guide us on this. Very true. This is a very helpful topic as for the applicability of peer review to all the firms of chartered accountants. Moving forward, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our today's speaker, C. Unmesh Nirvekar, sir. He is the past chairperson of Visai branch, having experienced more than 26 years in the field of accounting, auditing, finances, and taxation for both direct and indirect taxations. He is a FCA, ICWA, CS, LLB, has also done certification in DISA. He's currently partner at Mrs. Unmesh Nirvarkar and Company, Chartered Accountants, Mira Road. His association with ICI has been of many years. He has been guiding CAs, new CAs, and helping them to come forward. And his contribution towards ICI is also commendable. So we heartily welcome you, sir. It would also thank you, sir, for accepting our today's invitation to come and guide all our young members and fellow members and seniors on this peer review topic. We heartily welcome you, sir. So moving forward, I would like to request our speaker to take over for the today's session, and we heartily welcome you, sir. Thank you from my side.
Thank you, Divya Madam, for the introduction. I heartily thank the peer review board chairperson Vishnu Agarwal sir for giving this an opportunity to interact on the subject of timeline and form number one of the peer review. I also thanks to the vice chairperson Dianya Sharma ji for organizing these programs, because this is very important to see that what we are conducting the day-to-day activity, there is a assurance practice, audit and assurances. But along with that, the important part of documentation and conducting the peer review is prime important. And as we are well aware that the now peer review is going to become compulsory for every organizing practicing unit, we must understand its importance and follow the process guidelines, which will help us to enhance the acceptability of our work. And there are some compliances needs to be done, which will be dealt in detail.
Sorry to
Today
interrupt
we will
you,
be,
sir. Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you, sir. Your voice is too low. That's not clear and audible, it seems. Tech team, can
Is
you
it
please
okay?
confirm over
Can
this?
it be okay?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Just let me try that. Is it okay now? Is it quite good audible?
Yes, yes, it's much better, sir.
Better, na? Okay. Now, today we'll be discussing the important discussion about the timelines of the peer review process, and secondly, we'll be dealing with the uh, Form 1. What is Form 1? That is the application for peer review. Now, we'll be going through in detail about all this discussion, and we'll be take up the question answer at the end, because the form itself, Form 1 itself, is quite lengthy form, which is along with the annexures are there, so that we have to deal in detail what type of details are required in this annexure to be filled, because this is the foundation of peer review. Any organizing practicing unit needs to undergo the peer review will have to go through this form in detail. So let's understand this, how it is to be filled, requirements. So first we'll go with small details about. So uh, okay, my PPT is shared. Is it okay? Is it? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the timeline and process of peer review, how to fill Form 1 and other requirements. Let's, in short, we'll just sum up with initial 2 3 points. What is practicing unit? The practicing unit means a firm of a chartered accountant or a member in practice, practicing whether in an individual name or a trade name or such other entity as recognized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India from time to time. So any practicing chartered accountant, either in the individual name or a firm name or a partnership firm, all will be covered under the practicing unit. Now, what are the functions of practicing units? Yes, they are doing audit assurance services, taxation services, advisory services, consultancy, compliance certification, financial reporting, many other things. Now, what is peer review? The peer review is a mechanism to examine and review the work of a practicing unit. So, what are practicing unit is providing the services? Basically, the services of assurance and auditing and assurance, which will be reviewed by the peer reviewer. It is conducted by ICA to ensure the quality of services. That's the prime objective of the ICAI. Our practicing chartered accountant should deliver the quality services to the public at large, and that is the foremost important objective. And based on that, the peer review objectives have been set, and it focuses on the compliance with the professional standards. That every member should follow the professional standards. The basic objectives: ensure quality of professional services. That's the important part. Then enhance the credibility of the financial reporting. What are the reporting that has been done by a practicing unit? It will increase the credibility of that because of you getting a peer review. Improve audit standards, promote transparency and accountability. These are the prime objectives. Applicability of peer review, it is applicable to the practicing chartered accountants and firms, mandatory for certain categories. In I think the first series lecture, the all details have been there who are mandatory to be followed this peer review, and there are certain firms or the practicing units, for which they can go voluntary also. If they are not falling under the mandatory category, even if that in that circumstances they can go for voluntary, getting the peer review done for their own unit, or it may be as per the ICA guidelines. There may be certain firms ICA may direct for peer review, or in any other circumstances there will be. Now, the requirements for peer review for a firm, what are the requirements? Yes, you perform the attest function. They must be performing the attest function or assurance services. Implement SQC, quality control review. Documentation standards, adherence to standards, internal systems. All these are the basic requirements that PU should have. I'm just taking this brief beginning so that it will be easy for us to go ahead in the detail. Documentation requirement for peer review, engagement letters, audit plans, risk assessments, working papers, communication records, internal policies. These are all to be there with the PUs. Process of peer review. Now here we'll start with the process in short. First, there will be selection of practicing unit. The practicing unit which is interested to conduct the peer review of their firm will have to approach to the ICAI, that is peer review board, for appointment of the peer reviewer. Then there will be three people, three reviewers selection choice will be given to the PU, and then based on the selection, the appointment of the reviewer will be done. Reviewer will do the documentation procedures. He will visit the PU, that is practicing unit, and do the verification. And based on that verification, the final reporting will be done. That is reporting and recommendation will be done. And based on that reporting and recommendations, the follow-up actions will be taken by ICA. That is the certification will be issued from the ICA peer review board of the ICAI. Now, what are the benefits? That's the most important. It enhances the quality assurance. Whatever the services the PU is delivering is actually gives the qualitative tagging. Yes, it's quality assurance that is more important than regulatory compliances. Yes, there are mandatory requirements that our PUs to be compulsorily peer reviewed, without which they cannot do the audit functions or assurance services. So it's a regulatory compliance. It increases the client confidence. That's important. If you go with the higher corporate bodies, they definitely insist for the peer review firms only for appointment of the auditor also, and the professional growths. These are the benefits of getting peer reviewed. So that's important. Now, these are the mandatory requirements. Phase 1, which was started from as per the peer review board guideline 14 to 2022. The auditors of the listed entities, the firms, PUs, which are conducting the audits of the listed companies, definitely they come under the phase 1. Phase 2, from 1/7/2024, auditors of unlisted public companies, paid up capital rupees 50 crore, turnover rupees 100 crore, or loans, deposits up to 500 crore. Practitioners with 5 or more partners, they come under phase 2. They already been under covered mandatory requirement. Phase 3, 1/7/25, statutory audits of entities raising funds above 50 crores from public banks. Practitioners with 4 or more partners. Phase 3 already started. Phase 4, almost all the practicing units doing audits are going to be get covered. Recently, that has been, it was 1/1/2026, but now tentatively it is deferred up to 31/12/26. So it will be covering all, though. Now it will going to be mandatory for all to conduct the peer review. Now, how to prepare for a peer review? Now, here is the beginning, and for that we have a detailed ICA guideline, understanding the ICA guideline of 2022, which is in detail. There will be mock reviews, staff training, organized records. This has to be done at our end. Now, let's come to the more important part, the form. What is the form? Form 1. Form 1 is the important form which is the beginning of your peer review. What is Form 1? It's application come questionnaire. In peer review, it is the initial document submitted by the PU, practicing unit, to the peer review board. Now you are applying to the peer review board that yes, I want to get our firm, or we want to get our firm peer reviewed. Okay. In simple terms, it's both an application and a detailed questionnaire about the PU's practice. Okay. So what the practicing unit is doing is all details, how many partners, what are the branches, so many. We are going to see in detail what is the Form 1 and the questionnaire along with that. In detail, we are going to see. But in nutshell, it's a content of all the information about the practicing unit, name, address, location, so and so partners, FCA members, how many FCAs are there, how many employees are there, how many uh, CA employees are there, so on and so forth. It contains information like nature of services, what type of nature of services they are providing, what type of clientele they are providing, internal controls they are having in the organization, audit procedures, and compliances with the standards. Now, take an example. If you are an auditor of any of the corporate body, then before going to audit to do that corporate body, we try to understand the client per se. What is the nature of client? What type of services they are doing? What type of manufacturing activities they are doing? What services they are providing? What is the gamut? What is the turnover? So all such informations is nothing but the KYC of that client is been done by an auditor. Here also same form. This is nothing but the KYC of the PU, that is practicing unit. This form helps the reviewer who is going to review the audit, the work of the auditor, to understand the firm's operations, and he can do a better selection of the samples for his review. So that's why the Form 1 is more important, which is in detail, which we'll be going to see in step by step. Now, where you will get the form? Yes, you have to go to the peer review board on the website of the peer review board, ICA website, peer review. Download the form, that access Form 1 from the peer review portal. And yes, definitely your practice unit also registered on the self-service portal. Now, there are three parts, important three parts in the Form 1. Part 1, that is form profile. Part 2, questionnaire, list of all assurance services for the last 3 financial years. Part C, AQMM, that audit quality maturity model, version 1. Based on that, the self evaluation has been done by the PU and given to the reviewer so that he can evaluate it, how it is perfectly working, how it is done. And this is mandatory applicable with effect from 1st April 2023 for practicing units conducting statutory audit of listed entities other than branches of the banks and insurance companies, and recommendatory for other practitioners. Now, why AQMM? Yes, AQMM, it's a self evaluation. What way you are been following all these audit process standards in your own organization. So based on that, you can come to the conclusion what exactly where you stands. So and that will be given to the reviewer. So these are the ABC, three parts of the uh, Form 1. Then submission and reviewer selection. The form is submitted digitally to the peer review portal, and you get three panels, three viewers details, within which you will get the selection. Now, once this process, now here we are going to discuss now the timeline. Now, once you are applied for the peer review in Form 1, there is a complete detailed timeline has been given. Now, the ICA has shortened the period. Earlier it was quite long, but now it is shortened the period within which a reviewer, peer reviewer, has to complete the peer review of the practicing unit. So that detailed timeline is given over here, which will has to be adhered by the peer reviewer, as well as the necessary cooperation is required from the practicing unit also. So that entire timeline will be dealt in detail. Now let us understand the timeline, how the timeline is to be followed, and what is the time schedule. Now this is an important part because you cannot take the assignment and go on doing, because it may possibly, if the practicing unit is big firm, in that circumstances there will be n number of clients, n number of assignments will be there, the engagements will be there. So selection of those engagements, and based on that reviewing those engagements, and then finalizing the reports of peer review board, and then submitting it takes a lot of time. So in that circumstances, it is very important for you to design the process. And for that designing the process, it is important. The first step is a planning stage. First is a planning. Entire process of peer review to be planned properly by the peer reviewer. Secondly is the execution, and third is the reporting. So if you see, I think ICI come out with a fabulous this thing booklets, that is peer review manual one, manual two, and the handbook, peer review guideline, the handbook. These are the detailed contents of the entire process. The entire flowchart is there. Let me see if I can share with you that. Just a minute. So it will be easy for you to understand the process, entire process. Okay, here is a question I have. Just a minute. Yeah. Here was hope you can see the detail flow chart. Can you see this? You're still on the PPT. Uh, okay. Wait a minute.
So maybe can you close this PPT once and open or reshare the screen that might refresh?
Okay. I will have to close it again. No?
You just stop sharing and then reshare again your screen. That
Okay.
might refresh.
Yeah. Okay. Is it okay now? Can you see now? I want to share. Just a minute. One minute.
It's visible now, sir.
Just a minute. Yeah. Yeah. So I will just opening. Now it is visible.
Yes, we can see the folder. Uh,
Folder.
yes, you just open any of the files, whatever, matlab, whichever you're trying to show.
Now I have opened the file. It's a flow chart.
No, no, we can't see.
Okay, entire screen. Stop sharing. Na? Again, and have to do. entire screen. Okay. It is already underlined. It's shown. Entire screen. I shared it. Let's see now. We can see. Is it? Can you see now? Okay. Okay. Now this flowchart is visible now.
Yes, yes, the flowchart is visible now.
Okay, now this is the important
Annexure
flow chart.
one.
Yes, annexure one, the flow chart. It is nothing but from the our manual only, peer review manual only. Now this chart will give the entire detail about what is to be done by a peer reviewer. That is the beginning. Okay, the first stage is the planning stage, which will start from the peer review. I'm just increasing the size so that it will be easily visible for all. So there will be an application from the PU to the peer review board, and based on that, there will be peer review board selects the practicing units. Either peer review board will select the practicing, if it is mandatory, they will select, or other way around, even a voluntary also application can be there from the peer review peer practicing unit. A practicing unit will be requested to submit a duly filled application cum questionnaire in form number 1 to the board. The board recommends a panel of 3 reviewers to the PU, and based on the final selection of reviewer, within one working day of the recommendation of the panel, it will be sent informed to the reviewer that you have been selected for this review to be done for the peer review PU. The board to notify the reviewer to submit form 2 acceptance to PU, and to inform the PU to submit form 1 application cum questionnaire to the reviewer on receipt of the form 2 by it. What is form 2? That is acceptance by the reviewer, that I have accepted the assignment, the review assignment. Based on that, the PU practicing unit will submit the application form and questionnaire, everything to the reviewer PU to provide any other information which the reviewer may ask. Based on the form 1, the reviewer may ask some additional details which is to be provided by PU. Initial sample is selected by the reviewer representative of the PUs clients. There may be n number of clients, but the peer reviewer has to select few samples as per the ICA guideline, peer review board guideline, and based on that, he will do the selection of the clients. You will be notified of the selections of initial samples in advance before commencement of the review. Okay, these are the samples have been selected for which the review will be conducted. This will be intimated to the PU. Now, this is the first entire planning stage. Now, thereafter the execution begins. The peer review will do the actual review of the work. Now here the starting fixation of date of initial meeting, everything, all this timeline will be discussing. I'm just giving a flowchart in an overview form so that you will understand the entire process, and then we'll go for the detailed timeline. Now once the initial meetings have been fixed, the initial meeting between the peer reviewer and the PU will be done. Then the compliance review of the general controls, that is the 5 key important controls: the independence, maintenance of the professional skills, standards outside the outside consultation, staff supervision, development and office. All these things will be evaluated. Final selection of assurance services engagements and client files to be reviewed on random selection basis, that will be finalized, and the review of the records will be done. Now, there will be two ways based on the peer review choice. He can go substantive approach, he can follow the substantive approach in detail verification of the records, or he may go on a compliance approach also, both whichever is feasible to him, based on the he had to conclude. Now, if the proper controls and procedures are found in place, definitely he can go with the compliance approach also. That will be effective. If he finds that he should go in detail, Then he determined the nature, timing, and extent of substantive process to be followed, undergoing for the purpose of peer review. Based on that, he has to finalize his reply. Okay, now the first reply will be preliminary reply, the things he can communicate in a preliminary report, and if at all there is nothing, he can go even for final reporting also. That is the choice of the peer reviewer. So that will be stage of execution. And once the reports are issued by the peer review board, okay, the peer review board will take the cognizance of the report, and based on that, the final certificate will be issued. If the reviewer is satisfied with the systems and procedures, then he can give the final report, and based on the final report, the peer review board will issue the certification. Now it depends if there are some points or variations or maybe deviations. Based on that, the peer review board may send some details, or some ask for more details or with the peer reviewer submissions. And if the things are satisfactory, then no problem. In case of dissatisfaction, only the thing will come. Otherwise, the certification will be issued to you. This is the complete guideline, the flowchart for the entire process. Now we will go into the Form 1 and the timeline. Timeline is over here. Discuss the timeline. Illustrative time schedule. Now this is to be followed by the peer reviewer. If at all, if any deviation is necessary, then with the consent of the PU as well as the peer reviewer, we'll have to approach to the peer review board, and then only we can get the extension subject to their approval. Now let's go with the time schedule. This is important part. Practice unit. Falling under clause 217 of the peer review guidelines shall make an application, come questionnaire to the board in Form 1, and from the counting will start from this day. This will be the day 1. Now here the time schedule and the cumulative days have been mentioned over here. Okay. So once this is the day 1 will be counted, the application has been made. Then peer review board notifies the selection of practice unit. This is an application from the PU or selection of PU by the peer review board, either way. So that will be day 1. Then panel of 3 reviewers is sent to the PU along with notification of peer review fees as per the clause 6 bracket 4 of the peer review guidelines. So there are fixed remuneration to be paid, the fees to be paid to the peer reviewer. So within 3 working days, this panel is to be finalized. So that becomes the total 4 working days have been gone now. A PU to give the choice of the reviewers out of these 3 names of the peer reviewers been suggested by the peer review board. The PU has to make a selection and give the details choice to the board. So within 1 day that has to be reported. So now on the 5th day, the selection of reviewer is complete now. Now, as per the choice given by the PU, the board to notify the reviewer. Now, once the choice has been informed to the board by the PU that this is our selection, the peer reviewer will be selected, this is name and details. Based on that, within 2 working days, the board will intimate to the reviewer to submit his acceptance come declaration of confidentiality. Now, there's 2 important parts. One, the reviewer has to accept the assignment of peer review, and along with that, he has to give his declaration of confidentiality in form number 2. Now, this confidentiality is important because a reviewer is going to visit the PU and going to have the access to all the confidential data of the various clientels of the PU. So all the data which has been reviewed by him, the details should be made confidential, it should be kept confidential. So that declaration in form number 2 is to be given by the peer reviewer to the board. The board would also mark a copy of so and so to the PU also, so that they will also come to know that the communication has been done. So these 2 days have been over there for all these processes. So the total number of days are gone 7. Now by end of 7th, the reviewer and the PU both are knowing that who is going to review his the work. Okay, so now appointment has been done over here. Now after the job of reviewer starts. Reviewer on receiving the application cum questionnaire in form number 1 from the PU shall intimate the PU and the board the proposed visit and the proposed sample assurance services selected by him in form number 5. This is most important. Once the peer reviewer has been appointed and who is in access to the form number 1 and for PU with the all detailed questionnaire, that is a profile of the PU which has been given by the board to the peer reviewer also, share with the peer reviewer also. So he has to make an intimation to the PU that I am coming on this date to visit, and what samples he has been made, the selections of samples has been made for the review purposes. That is in form number 5. And accordingly, the practice unit has to keep the data ready, the records ready, what are the selections that has been done, so that the reviewer can start the work. Now, for that, all these processes, there will be 2 days timeline. So by end of ninth day, all things will be on in place. And now the actual work will start from the reviewer to seek the further additional clarification in form number 6 from the practicing unit on the information furnished, not furnished by the PU in questionnaire, and PU to provide the additional information asked by the reviewer. Now, if at all, if there is any shortcomings in the form 1 or the annexure to the form 1, then the peer reviewer may take additional data, additional information, or what are the required things from the PU. That is additional 1 day has been granted for that, and that's the 10th day. After 10th day, the actual work will start, the review work will start. Now, reviewer to carry out the review by visiting the office of the PU. Now it is on field. Now the reviewer is on field, that is at the PU's place, after fixing the date and as per time with the mutual consent, and within the 6 days, 6 working days after visiting PU's office, he has to finish the review work. He has to go through the records, what are the samples they are selected, what are the data files, what are the services records, what are the client details. All these has to be done within the 6 days. Now 6 days are time there for actual work on field. Okay, so that ends with 16 days time. Now the reviewer to send a the report based on the work. Now the 17th day after doing the preliminaries, all the after doing the review of all the assignments or the records of the PU, reviewer has to send a preliminary report if any, if he wants to do in that fashion. So that will be 1 day will be given to them, that is day 17. So by 17th day, you will have to go for the preliminary report of your peer review. Now, practicing unit to submit the representation on the preliminary report. If at all, if the practicing unit wants to give some updates or representation or want to communicate certain things, then 2 days have been additionally given for the PU to give all the details to the reviewer. The reviewer should be satisfied with the PU's response on preliminary report, because see, there may be some findings that the peer reviewer may have done in the preliminary report, that I got this, I want this, I want this, additional information, whatever may be, the justification, whatever may be they required, that has to be provided within the 2 days time by the PU, so that the reviewer can finalize the thing. So this additional 2 days makes it 19 days time. Total 19 days time has been given in this fashion. And after this representation received from the PU on the preliminary report, what are the justification they may have given, what it may be. Once you are satisfied, on completion of the review, the reviewer has to submit the under mentioned documents duly signed in the individual capacity. Now, peer review is an individual process. It is not done by the firm. It is done by the individual practicing chartered accountant who are empaneled on the peer review board. Okay, subject to certain criteria. So, if you are empaneled reviewer, then only you can do the peer review work of some other PUs. And in that capacity, in individual capacity, you have to sign. So that will be 20th day. So 20th day, you will have to submit your report, final report, along with the list of documents. I'm just going over here. So, along with Form 9 to be signed by the PU and reviewer, final report addressed to the chairman, peer review board, then annexure 1, 2, 3, what are these? All annexures are there. Okay. So, all these details has to be submitted on the 20th day. Even the list of samples selected based on the criteria, sample selection criteria. Okay, if a report is already submitted, then that also, and completed copy of the PO's questionnaire received from the practicing unit. All these A, B, C, D, F, G, all the data will be submitted on the 20th day. So peer review board reserves the right to ask for working papers as specified in the peer review guideline. A copy of the final report along with Annexure 1, Annexure 2, Annexure 3 should be sent to the PU also. And this will also go to the PU also. Now try to understand the entire gamut of work within 20 days time. That's why the first phase of planning is more important. That once you go been appointed as a peer reviewer, the important part is that how you can finish the work within the 20 days timeline period. Because it's not so easy to go through each and every file. So your selection of samples is important, and after selection of samples, along with that, it is more important to do the work, execution of the work properly. Now let's go with the this is the timeline what we are seeing. Now we will go through the form one. The one is not much complicated, but let's understand the form one also, which will give you the complete idea. What is the application? Yes. Okay. Wait a minute. Form one, but this I have this question here. Is it form visible? Okay. Now this application come questionnaire to be submitted by practicing unit. I'm just going through the form number one. It's a form number one application. Now it is the application by the PU to the board. Our firm, so and so, name of you may be an individual practicing name, so your individual name or membership number, or if it is a firm, proprietary firm, partnership firm, the firm name will come, FRN number will come, and would like to apply for the peer review of the for the period so and so, the three financial years from the date of application. We have gone through the peer review guideline. This is a guideline 2022 hosted by the ICA on our website, and it has to be detailed. We have to go through and not get covered by the same because we have to follow the guidelines. We hereby declare that my or our firm is applying for peer review based on what? Is it a mandatory? Then you have to select whether you are falling under a mandatory category or any other regulator as per the ICA guideline or as per the regulator compliances. If it is not then you may apply voluntarily also. So in that category, you will take a voluntarily. As a special case review initiated by the board has a power to ask to conduct the peer review of any of the PU, and in that circumstances, it will be special case review initiated by the board. If it is a new unit, in that circle, new unit means if the unit is less than 12 months, or if it is more than 12 months, but they have not done any assurance services, still they can do their things, peer review can be done of that form. So in case of new unit, as per decision of the board. So these are the criteria where you have to select the under which category you fall, and you have to select any one of that. Now here, we hereby declare what type of assignments you are conducted. So we hereby declare that my or our firm has signed reports pertaining to the following assurance services during the period under review. Now, if you are falling under the mandatory category or any other category, definitely we are not, or maybe in a voluntary capacity, or you have to make the declaration of the major type of clientels. So, like banks, insurance companies, manufacturing individuals or trading companies or any other clientele where if you are doing such type of assurance services, you have to declare that yes, in whatever the things you are doing, whether you are doing a statutory auditor, statutory central auditor, central statutory auditor, statutory audit of banks, internal audits, tax audit, concurrent audits of the banks or insurance companies or individuals. So accordingly, you'll have to declare all the details over here. Again, you have to give the declaration that our firm has conducted or has not conducted any statutory audit of enterprise listed in India or abroad as per the SEBI LODR 115 during the review period. Whether you have done any audit of such type of corporates or not, or entities or not. Then option for appointment of the reviewer. Okay, the board has given an option for appointment of reviewer, whether you want a reviewer from the same city, from outside city, or either option 1 or 2, or preferred city in case of option 2. Now, if you now this is important that it is the review to be conducted in a very ease manner and comfortable manner. The board has given a choice. You can make this selection, give the option of peer reviewer from the same city, which will be convenient nearby, or if you have a choice of somebody from the outside city, then you can do that option also, or either you can leave it to the board also. And if in that circumstances, if you are selecting outside city, then which location? So Mumbai or Calcutta or maybe any other location. So that option is given. You may select any of the things, or you may leave it to the third option, that either option 1 or 2. So board will take a call. Email ID for communication with the PU. The PU has to give their proper email address based on which the communication will be done by the board. And address for sending the peer review certificate after completion. The certificate is to be sent on which address, because your PU may be having the HO, maybe having the branches across India, maybe in multiple cities, multiple locations. So at which address the certificate to be sent, it is to be communicated over here in the application 1. Further additional information to be submitted by the new unit. In case of a new unit, tick the applicable clauses or mention any. CA, I am CA so and so, membership number, partner of my firm is or was a partner or proprietor of firm so and so. Okay, name of the firm, FRN number so and so, having a pure certificate number so and so that is valid from so and so. If your firm has already been completed the peer review previously also, so what is the validity period that you have to mention, and who you may be individual, it may be firm or it may be proprietary firm, partnership firm, whatsoever may be. So that details has to be provided over here. I am was a partner or proprietor of firm XYZ, whatever is the name of the firm, FRN number of the firm, having a peer review certificate number so and so, that is related from so and so. So now here we are always giving a name of the individual partner for reference purposes, which you'll see at the end of this form. So this is to be given, the data to be given to the institute, the peer review board. Okay. I'm sorry, CA so and so, membership number so and so, an employee of the firm who is a chartered accountant is was a partner, proprietor of a firm so and so, having a peer review certificate number so that is valid from so and so, or CA so and so, membership number, partner firm is an impaneled peer reviewer who has qualified the test organized by the board. Okay, or I, CA so and so, membership number so and so, am an impaneled peer reviewer who has qualified the test organized by the board. Now, if you have complied these things, okay. So, if your firm or if you an individual chartered accountant practicing chartered accountant, if you are fitting any of these criteria, you have to give the details of this thing. Rest you have to do any. Okay. Then point number 9, policies, procedures, and infrastructures of a firm is in conformity with the standards of quality control SQC1. That's the most important. Whether you are following the procedures, policies, procedure, and infrastructure as per the ICA guidelines, that is standards on quality control. That is important. You have to say yes or no. Based on that, the things will be taken in that fashion. I wish to undertake the audit of a listed company. Why you are applying? It may be possible that you may not have done the audit of listed company. You are not falling under that category. But if you want to go for a audit of listed company, then peer review has to be done prior to taking the assignment. So you may make a declaration that I want to take the audit of the listed company and further declare that if as applicable so and so, yes, so and so partner firm has carried out the audit of listed company in the last years, the experience of any of the partner in the previous period, or in the case of proprietary firm that you have carried the audit of listed company in last 3 years, so that detail has to be provided over there. The practice unit nominate its partner so and so as a peer review process for the peer review process. Sorry. Now here you have to designate one partner who will be in consultation with the peer reviewer for all the data information required, and he will be in communication with them. So there will be better coordination with the PU and the peer reviewer. Reviewer will be in an individual capacity. He is coming an individual. Whereas the unit, practicing unit may be a big unit, maybe having number of branches, HOs, branches, so that there will be some controlling person, contacting person, and that is the nominated partner of a PU. His mobile number and email ID is also been given to the peer reviewer so that there will be better coordination. Then point number 2 comes the questionnaire. That is the important detail of the profile of the PU. So I hereby declare that the details furnished above are true and correct as borne out by the facts of the best of my knowledge and belief. So what are the contents details have been provided are correct. This declaration is important. I understand the peer review certificate issued on the basis of this report submitted by the reviewer does not provide immunity from the disciplinary and legal proceedings. So that doesn't guarantee that you will not be taken for any DC actions. If you are failure in any of the negligent in any other manner, DC is going to be there. So you doesn't get any immunity from this. It is just to find out the standard, the maturity level, audit maturity level of the firm. Legal proceedings or actions initiated against practicing unit or its partners or employees. So this certificate is not an immunity in any manner. It is just to understand the level you have achieved, the PU has achieved as far as the SQCs are concerned, the quality controls are concerned, the audit quality is concerned. I undertake to pay the fees to the reviewer, peer reviewer, within 7 days from the date of receipt of the invoice from the peer reviewer. Now, once the peer reviewer has completed his job and given the report to the peer review board, it is important that the PU should pay the applicable fees that is been designed as per the peer review board guidelines to the peer reviewer within 7 days time. Okay, there should not be any delay. A further undertaking and agree that I further undertaken and I agree that the certificate can be revoked for any of the reasons stated in the peer review guideline. So there are certain multiple reasons. If anything is fitting in that section, then peer review board has an authority power to withdraw the certificate also. It can be revoked the peer review certificate also. And here the signatures, the name of the proprietor partner who has been designated, membership number of the the Form-1. It is an application to the board for the purpose of peer review. Now we will go the annexure. Now here the annexure, which is going to be the important part, as we discussed. There is part 1, part 2, part 3, the part A, part B, part C. Part A, the profile, part B, and part C. These are all details we'll have to go in details now. Now let us understand, this questionnaire is nothing but a complete profile of the practicing unit. Now why this important? Now, without knowing the profile of the practicing unit, a reviewer may not able to do justice to his job. So he needs to understand what type of gamut, what type of the entire the PU is. So now we'll go with the detailed points, because this is a quite lengthy. We'll have to go in detail, understanding the important points to be mentioned over here. If you fail to fill the proper details, probably the reviewer may not able to get the complete idea of the practicing unit. So let's understanding the name of the practicing unit, whatever ABC associates, or maybe XYZ associates. Peer review of HO or branch, whether he is to be conducting HO or branch or both. It depends. So you have to take accordingly. Address as per the ICA records. So if you are registered with that is the important of SSP portal. Registering the PU on the registry portal is important, because based on that records, the address will be taken over here. The email ID of the PU, the website of the PU. Now, why all this website and all these things? Because there are website guidelines also. ICA ethical standard boards, if you see, there are guidelines. Whether now here the audit is not only the audit of the records of the PU's clients, but the entire process, entire PU's functioning, everything will be audited, that is peer reviewed by the reviewer. So whatever details you are filling, it should be adherence to the ICA guidelines which were given. Now, what is the status of your PU? Whether it is a partnership firm, proprietary firm, limited liability, or you are an individual name. So any of the four you can select based on your constitution. If you are in the individual name, you can select the individual name also. A date of establishment of the PU, when the PU is established, when the practicing unit is been established. That is this, it may be a formation date, partnership formation date, registration date, LLP registration date, or proprietorship, the confirmation, the issued letter issued by the ICA about the formation of the firm approval. Or if you're an individual practicing name, then the COP, date of COP, that will be the PUs, or date of establishment of PU. If you have been allotted firm registration number, yes. In case of individual, not applicable. But if it is a proprietary firm, partnership firm, LLP, then yes, firm registration number is required. Yeah, in case of individual name, you can write the membership number only. Now, is there any networking firm? And if yes, please provide. If you are affiliated to some of the networks of the ICA approved networks, then you have to give the name of the network. Since when the network is entered into, what are the date of agreement in which you've been affiliated to that network? Is there any exit from the network recently? Because you may be applying, there may be some exit thereafter from the date of entering. So if yes, then the reason of exit, we have to give the details. Period of assurance services under review. So from which period to now? 3 years period, from which date to which date? That we'll have to mention. Contact person of the PU for peer review, the name, mobile number. In the application one, we have given all the details of the contact person. So to whom we'll have to contact the nominated person, so that we can contact him along with his email address. Now, particulars about the constitution of the PU during the period under review, as per Form 18 filed with the ICI. So this is an important, what was the constitution of the PU during the period under review, within that review period. Okay, so that is the what are the financials, what will be, what exactly is the constitution of the PU. Okay, now here, is there any assurance services like statutory audit, taxation, etc., headed by different partners? If yes, details to be provided. in the below table. Now this table gives the complete nature of work services who have been assigned the work, whether individually, jointly, who have been given the charge. So first, name of the sole proprietor, proprietorship partners, okay, membership number of the sole practitioners or sole proprietor or partner, association with the PU. Since how many years you have been associated with these things. So these are all partners details will be given. This is Form 18 will give the list of all the partners who are on board of the PU. So all the partners will be made available over any post qualification or certification courses pursued within or outside the ICS. So your qualification as a member, professional experience in the practice, you may be having 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatsoever. So that year, then predominant function, whether you are into audit, you are into taxation or consultancy. So all the details will be given. So if you are an individual, your own one name will come, proprietor one name will come. If you are a partner or LLP, then definitely the PU is partner or LLP, then all the partner details will be provided over here. And details of changes. If the partner is joined within that 3 years period, if you're giving a peer review period is a 3 years period normally. Now in that 3 years period, who has joined, recently joined, maybe somebody left. So all the details of joining and leaving the firm, the changes will have to be mentioned over here. So that's the first part, point number 11 of the questionnaire. Now question number 12, particulars of chartered accountants employed. Now this is the membership. Now here are the partners details. Okay. Whereas 12 will be the number of chartered accountant employees or paid assistants or consultants, as the case may be, who are qualified as chartered. Now their details, membership number, association with the PU, number of years, and their experience in total number of years. So they may be associated with the practice even maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but they may be having the experience of 10 years, 20 years. So accordingly, these two columns will be filled. So here first is a partner, is a member, second is the paid employees in PU, and details of other employees as on the last day of the block period of the peer review period. So that's a 3 years period. So how many semi-qualified assistant? This is the HR, complete HR of the PU is understood from over here. So semi-qualified assistants, article assistants on board, administrative staff, and other staffs. So you get the HR details. How many human resources have been employed by the PU? If the PU has any branch offices, okay. Now this is what we are talking about the HO. If you are having the branches, furnish the following details of the members in charge and the number of staffs. So if you have a branch, then accordingly the member who is in charge of that branch, number of staffs, their membership numbers, address, whether any assurance services rendered from that branch or not. That has to be also mentioned over here. How is the control procedure followed by the branches? Now, how is the control procedures followed at the branches? That has to be narrated over here. Okay, HO is a different story. Whereas the branch is there, the branches how they have been following this all the control procedures. So internal controls and all the standards have been followed. And whether any periodic sampling testing of clients handled by branches is done by HO or not. Now, how the control of HO is there on the branch? Because at HO there may be all the functions and all the seniors are available, so there may be quite good controls have been placed over here. But what about the branches located at a different place? How the HO is controlling their functioning, that has to be mentioned. And whether you are doing any sample testing of the clients audited by them or the clients handled by them, yes or no. Because this gives the idea what sort of quality controls have in place as far as the PU is concerned. Now, from point number 16, the gross receipt of the PU. Okay, both HO and branch. Now it's a consolidated report, consolidated details of the HO and the branches in total as per the books of the accounts from assurance function for the period under review. In case of centralized billing, the branches turnover may be added with HO. Otherwise, separate figures in lakhs to be given. Okay. Now, financial year 1, 2, 3, 3 financial years. Head office, branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, branch 4. If there are number of branches, you can go on adding these things. If you are doing a centralized billing for all the branches from HO only, so branches need not be there, it will be added in the HO's column only. So that's the Financial profile. Now we have seen the HR profile. Now here's a financial profile. So what is the turnover? What is the turnover? This is gross receipt of the practicing unit. So you get all the details. Now, or the total gross receipt of the practicing unit, both HO and branches as per the books of accounts for the period under review. It may be possible if you are not in that fashion, the details are not been available in the financial year wise, then based on the period of review, because period of review may be partially, it may be full, not may not be a full period. So in that category, in that cases, it may be period under review. In case of centralized billing, the branches turnover may be added to HO. Okay. If it is a full financial year, then 3 financial years. If it is not, then it may be partial also. In that case, period of review. Now, concentration. Furnish the details where professional fees from any client exceed 15% of the PO's total gross receipt. Now, this is to be understood. Even the ethical standard of boards also, we have all these guidelines. Now, what type of dependency or the concentration of in the clientele is there? So the PO's earnings are dependent on few clients, or what if it is a single client is having more than 15% plus collections and the gross receipts are coming from one single unit, then that type of credit needs to be properly maintained. Now here see, if you have to understand why this is important, it has directly linked with the independence of the auditor. Okay, try to understand the ethical standards of the ICAI. We have strict ICAI ethical standard guidelines, so we cannot do certain we cannot do the audit of related parties, then we cannot have the dependency, there should not be intimidation. All these areas have been dealt in detail. So here we have to understand from this perception that what type of the PO's financial profile is there and the clientele profiles are there. Okay, number or code number of the client. Why it is code number? Because sometimes the nowadays POs are not maintaining the data of the clients in the name form, because confidentiality issue comes up. So they may be having the details in the code number. Every client may be given a code number 01, 02, A1, AB, what it may be. It's depend on the PO's process. So there may be a code number, the type of services, insurance, non-insurance services, percentage of PO's total gross receipts, and which financial year. So let's take an example of, if we are having a gross receipt of a PO is 1 crore, out of which one client only is having a paying a more than 25 lakhs the fees to the PO. So then it is a dependency or a more concentration in that case. So this detailing will be made available by the PU in this column. And that depends on the financial year wise, whether all the 3 years or if any of the specific year, so accordingly. So this, if at all, if it is a receipt exceeds 15% of the PO's total gross receipt, then all details will be given for all the years, all the 3 years. Mind you, whether PO has ever undertaken self-evaluation as per the digital competency maturity model 2, if yes or no. What is digital competency maturity model? That we need to understand how the technology savvy the PO is. And so that self-evaluation process is there, whether you have done that or not, how much is the scoring is that, we have to mention over there. If yes, yes, if no, no. If yes, then what is the scoring? So that it will be easy to understand the level of technology competency or the digital competency or understanding of the PU. Has the PU been subjected to the peer review in the past? If you have already conducted your form peer review been reviewed previously, yes, no. If yes, the certificate number issued by the board. Whether any partner employee of the PU unit has been found guilty for any disciplinary committee in the last 3 years in any capacity, yes or no. Yes, then you have to view details. If no, not applicable. And then name of the partner, name of the employee, their membership number, case number, whether found guilty or not. If there is no result in process, the disciplinary proceeding in process, you'll have to mention in that fashion. If it is concluded and found guilty, yes. If found not guilty, say no. If the process is going on, then you can put it that disciplinary proceedings are going on. Whether any client obtained through a process of tendering. Have you applied to any tender and got a client? then you have to mention that yes, then yes, you have to provide the details also. Please provide details of assurance clients where report certificate has been signed during the period under review, financial year wise and branch wise as per annexure 1. Please use the additional sheets because that's you may have a number of clients for which the reports have been signed. Okay. Now, whatever the audits and assurance clients or the certification has been done by you, you have to give the data in the annexure 1, that is here below. The client obtains to tender may please be marked with the word tender in bracket. Okay. This annexure is in this form. Okay. This is annexure 1. Now understand the category of client, name of the code or maybe code number, name or code number, name of the branch or HO who is conducting, and name of the signing partner. Now, if it is HO conducting, then HO and name of the partner signing. If it is a branch, then branch is under the client is under branch, then branch details and the signing person. Then type of engagement for 3 financial years, whether it's statutory audit, internal audit, or assurance certification for 3 years. Whether engagement quality review be done or not, yes or no. The turnover in rupees or lakhs, borrowing of rupees lakhs, net worth. If any all the details has to be filled as far as the individual client is concerned. Now this is required for all the types of clients you have done for last 3 years, wherever you have done the certification, assurance services. So all the details will come under this list, and you have to add on the details. Now, if it is a banking and insurance company, if you have done it for any banking and insurance company, so you have to go give the same details for the various banks. So, where the statutory, central audits, all these details will come. Non-banking financial services, the NBFCs, companies having public deposits of rupees 100 crore above. If you are having this, then yes, definitely, if you have done the work for those NBFCs having the depot of 100 crore above, list all these things. Central or state public sector undertaking, okay, having turnover exceeding rupees 250 crores or net worth exceeding 5 crores, yes, give the list of them. A, B, C, these are the various details. Enterprise which is listed in India or abroad as per SEBI guidelines, LODR guidelines, regulations 2015, list of these clientels. Asset management, AMCs, mutual funds. So these are the variety of clientels you may be handling. Now, if you see the small com firms, SMPs may not be going through all these details, but there may be many firms who may be doing different types of audits for even for all the clientels, types of clientels also. So you have to provide all the details because this is the information required. Based on that, the peer reviewer will make the selection of samples. Okay, so these details are required. Entities preparing the financial statements as per Ind AS, any body corporate, including trust, which are covered under public interest entities. Okay, entities which have raised funds from public or banks or financial institution or by way of donations contribution over 50 crores rupees during the period under review. So maybe these NGOs or a non-profit organization having donations contributions more than 50 crores will also be to be mentioned over here. These are different types of clientels, breakups of clientels. Entities which have been funded by central or state governments for more than 50 crores during the period under review. Entities having net worth for more than 100 crores rupees or having turnover of 250 crores or above during the period under review. And if anything, residual category. If nothing has been there, but if you have done the audit for the other thing, then you have to go in the last category, any other category. So your entire clientele will be classified in these categories, and you have to give the list of all the clients for 3 financial years. Okay, there is a period under review, or last 3 financial years or the period under review, and the entire data will be provided. That's the importance of Form 1 because it's a complete profiling of the unit PU. Okay, HR, partners details, locational details, financial details, clientele details, everything will be mentioned over here. Now the There may be type of engagement with central statutory auditor that we are seeing. Now, type of assurance services engagement includes central statutory audit, tax audit, GST audit, internal audit, that is certification work, but does not include. Now, what does not include? Now, what is assurance? Audit and assurance services are covered under peer review. What does not include? MS management consultant services, representation before various authorities, engagement to prepare tax return. So, details what we are giving above should be related to the audit assignments, assurance services, okay, but not about these services, okay. Management consultancy, representation, engagement for preparing tax returns, engagement for compliance of financial statements, compilation of financial statement, engagement solely assist in client in preparing the compiling the information for the financial statements. So wherever non assurance services or audit services have been provided, that will not be covered under the data, about data. Now that's the first part, profile. Now, now part two is still more important, that is controls. What are the level of standards of quality controls have been placed? That is important to understand. Based on that, the reviewer will decide, the peer reviewer will decide whether he wants to go for substantive process or the compliance process. He will get the idea that what is the level of quality level of the PU. The standard on quality control SQC1 has been made mandatory by the ICA on from the 1st April 2009, and the PU is required to establish a system of quality control designed to provide reasonable assurance that the PU and its personnel comply with the professional standards, regulatory standards, legal and ethical requirements. Now, this is important that you, as a chartered accountant, your services should be professionally high quality standards has to be maintained as per the ICA guideline. Now, whether you are following that standards or not, that is important. Then regulatory guidelines are also there, and the legal and technical requirements, ethical requirements are also there. Now, whether this is being followed by you or not, and how much you are in compliance with this, will be understood from the SQC1. Now, broadly, the PU systems of quality control should include policies. Now, what they are talking about? Policies followed by the PU, the procedures, addressing leadership responsibility, ethical requirements, acceptance and continuous of client relationship, human resources, engagement performance and monitoring, okay, etc. So these are the areas, 5 areas, more importantly 5 areas will have to be dealt with SQC1, and whether the PU has all these quality control systems in place in response to this or not, it has to be mentioned over here, okay. The questionnaire based on these criteria is being given in part B1, B2, B3 to B7, B6 here under. Now, what is expected by a PU to be followed or to be in place in the PU will be detailed in this part B, okay, which will understand how the entire functioning of the PU is. Okay. Now, leadership responsibility and quality. Now, each area will be dealt in detail. The 6 areas will be dealt in detail. Okay. We'll be brush up with these details. Leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm. Does the PU have a quality control manual? Now, whether there is a quality control manual is in place, whom has the firm entrusted with the responsibility of developing, designing, implementing this QC quality control? uh, who is ultimately responsible for ensuring the effectiveness. Now, firm has to designate one quality control person. Okay, maybe a senior partner or maybe the partner who is knowing the entire firm in detail will be designated one person who to have the quality control review regularly. So he will be designing the quality control manuals, he will be designing, then implementing, and also seeing that whether they are being effectively implemented in place, effectively implemented, and there will be regular review of these quality control systems also. So it may be anything. It starts from your right from the attendance of the staff, or the process to follow, the login system. A number of things are there which stands with the quality control. Now, what quality control systems have been operating in the firm, that will have to be reviewed, whether the same has been formally documented or not. It has been documented, agreed by all the partners also, who evaluate the client relationship and specific engagement to ensure the commercial consideration do not override the objectives of the system and quality control. So whether these quality control documents are in place and they have been followed regularly, and as far as the clientels are concerned, the relationship concerned, is there any compromise or not, that will be understood from there. How often this evaluation is being carried out? So whatever clientels have been undertaken, the service have been provided to the clientels, their consideration and the quality, are you going below down or not? If you see the experience from the old firms, they don't take the assignments of a small clientels because that is not up to their quality standards. But because the remuneration may not be commensurate to the size and requirements. So in that circumstances, they will not go with the such services. So whether such type of things have been evaluated or not, whether you have done something which is not as per as the standards are concerned, what is the procedure followed by firm to ensure that the fees consideration and the scope of work do not infringe upon the quality? You are undertaking any of the work below the recommended standards of the ICAI, of the remuneration standards, so that your quality will be compromised. The work service quality may be compromised, the audit quality will be compromised. Yes or no, you'll have to envisage that also. How and when the policy procedures have been shared with the personnel working in the firm, whether they have been communicated to this personnel working in the firm or not, whether refresher sessions have been taken periodically to understand, does the firm's compensation system provide incentive and advancement to the personnel who demonstrate the quality work? Is there an incentive for the people, the personnel who are working, maybe articles, maybe semi-qualified, maybe them, I mean, they be incentivized for the quality work? Has the PU come across any instances where the QC as quality control has been override, not been followed? Whether which of the following resources have the firm been deployed for developing, implementing, and maintaining the firm's quality policy and procedure? So, do you have any separate team who is working on the development of the quality control policies, procedures? If yes, then manpower, tools. You may be doing it manually. You may be doing having some IT tools being used. The libraries may be used. Regular review has been there. Okay. Now that becomes the leadership role as far as the QC is concerned. Ethical requirements is more important. Which of the following procedures does the PU have in place for ensuring that the personal adherence to the ethical requirements, those contained in the codes? So, whatever the ethical requirements have been mentioned in the Ethical Standard Board of the ICAI, whether they have been followed properly or not. Okay, you'll have to understand from here, and here the PU has to give the remark, yes, no, no, what all the details. Designated independence and ethic partner who is responsible for all these aspects. Is there anybody designated person is there, or for this the partner is there for this, for all aspects of independence and ethics of the POs, partners, and professional staff? If answer to one above is yes, name of the person, name of the partner who has been designated for this thing. If the partner is the same as a QC partner, if they are same, then there may be clashing. So if yes or no, you have to answer. The QC partner, designated partner should be separate. Ethical standard person should be meted. If I am the partner who is developing the quality and I am doing the ethical, there may be mismatch. So it should be separate. Ideally, it should be separate person. In case of small firm, it may be separate. It may not be a separate, but ideally it should be a separate person. Has the PO established a system of identifying all services performed for each unit and evaluating whether or any of the services impair independence? Now, here, what ethical standards are we expected by the ICAI from a member or a practicing unit? Whether they have been followed or not, in that respect, all these questions will be there. So first is your independence. How the independence of the auditor is there. So the PU should be independent from his client. So whether there is any clashing of that independence, whether independent standards is being met or not, ethical standards is met or not in that respect, yes, the checks and will be made available. What checks are put in place to ensure that all the personnel following the independence and ethics policies of the PU. Now, there may be possibility that there may be one client for which a PU is doing the audit, and there may be a personnel employee who may be a related person of that client. So, in that circumstances, he should not be assigned that client. He should not be in the team of audit team of that PU, because there may be clashing on independence because he may be related party. So if that circumstance, he should not be given the audit place in the audit team for that time because he is a related person. Now this type of things are the checks has to be made in control to understand the independence of the entire team who is doing the audit. Maybe even including the partner also, they should not be a related person also. So it should be independent. The auditor should be independent, and PU should be independent of his plan in all respect. Which of the following checks does the PU put in ensure the independence requirement are communicated to its personnel? Does the PU maintains a list of entities with which PU personnel and others, if any, are prohibited from having the financial or business relationship? If there is any nexus, then we'll have to prohibit the list of entities with which you should not have any business relations or financial relations. That has to be maintained. Now, see, the stricter guidelines have been designed so that the independence of the auditor will be maintained throughout the process, even right from the beginning or till the end also. And reviewer has to review all these things. Does the PO make the list available to the concerned personnel so that they will evaluate their independence? Even the personnel, if let us assume that X person is deputed for an audit of XYZ Limited, and if he has any business relation, then he should also know from the PU that yes, this client has been there, and you should not have any business relation or any of the financial relation with this thing, so that even the individual personnel can also evaluate himself whether he is independent or not. Okay, so this level of independence is to be ensured over here, and it is to be updated. The remarks to be given by the details to be given by the PU. Are the changes in the list notified regularly? Does the PU provide frequent reminders to the reminders of the professional responsibility to the personnel whosoever may be going over there? Now, when you have been assigned the job or the audit, that time you may be independent person, but later on you may develop some sort of financial relationships or business relationship. Then you have to immediately cease to that assignment. So that's what the frequent reminders, whether if you are having any relationship, you should not do the audit of that firm clientele. So that has to be taken care of. So then we have the following policies, procedures, and the safeguards the PU has in place to mitigate the threats of independence. If such type of any any problems comes in between, that independence is lost, or maybe there may be threat to the independence, you may get some engagement over there. So in that circumstances, what are the policies and procedures to to mitigate that threats? That policies has to be in place or not. For that, there is questionnaire. To the engagement part by the PU with the given information about the client's engagement to enable it to evaluate the overall impact or independence requirement. Now here the information will be collected from the personnels or the partners whether you are been given the assignment of XYZ client's audit, whether you are independent of that or not in all respect. Okay, is there any interest, self-interest threat is there or not? And if it is there, what steps to be taken to mitigate that? Okay, so you may be having some relative persons employed over there. You may be having some assignment with them that you have to cease that, you have to close that assignments, all these things. So there will be a number of possibilities of mitigation that will then mitigating the risk. Okay, then this has to be notified to PU. How PU will mitigate it? The self-review threats, the self-review will be taken. The checklist will be there. Based on that, the risk of advocacy threats will have to be evaluated by the PU. The PU can demonstrate the same. How to mitigate that familiarity test. Familiarity is also important. If you are familiar over again and again, same partner has been designated for the audit for continuous 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. The familiarity threats may comes up. In that circumstance, you will have to reduce that familiarity test. So you may not be assigned to that work, may be assigned to some other work. So what type steps will be taken by the PU in that respect to mitigate the independence? Whether the disclosure is there, the relationship with the client, can the PU demonstrate the professional that the professional skepticism has been used in the entire assignment? What measures taken to mitigate the same? So, like that, every aspects have been dealt in this, and for that, whether the procedures have been followed, the standards have been followed, and the guidelines have been followed. They have been implemented on time and again. They are reviewed again and again. And if at all, if in between any threats have been found out, it is same to be mitigated over a period of time. So how this thing has been done by the PU has to be narrated in the entire annexure. If at all, if any threats are there, what are the steps and processes and safeguards been taken by the PU in that respect? Okay. All these questions will dealt with in respect of the independence, threat to independence, and steps or mitigating steps taken by the PU. I'll take a very simple example. Is there any policy that the personal declares the acceptance of gift or hospitality from the clients or the owners? If you are going to the audit of client and the client may give you some gifts and all these things, whether there is any policy that yes, the person has to make the declaration to the PU that the client has given such a gifts or such a treatment, hospitality treatment, well, that may be a threat to the independence. If there is a declaration policy, definitely the personnel who may be taking the gifts will have to make the declaration to the client, to the PU, and the PU may take a necessary things on records. So here they will try to see that independence will be maintained throughout the process, not at the beginning, but at the till the end of the assignment. Again, there is a policy to obtain annual independence declaration from all personnel. It is not for one time. It is every time before any engagement, before any assignment is taken. Okay. Even the partners has to sign the annual independence declaration along with all the personnel who have been interested with the audit team. So that's the entire discussion about the steps taken by the PU as far as the procedures are concerned. Then again, the tax audit assignments, as the statutory audit, the tax audit assignments, as the PU accepted the appointment as the statutory auditor of any of the PSU or any public companies having turnover of is more than 50 crores or more in a year and accepted any other work or any assignment. If you're an auditor, then you are not supposed to do any other assignment. Okay. So this is where your independence may in conflict. So you'll have to make the declaration of that also. If yes, specify the reasons. Okay. If you are taken an appointment of an auditor of a concern, if he is indebted to the concern or has given a guarantee, okay, which is not been allowed. So if you are taken such assignment, then you have to specify. You should not, if it is taken by reason, you have to mention that. Has the PU received fees from the client below the minimum scale of recommended fees of audit assignment by ICA? If you are taking the fees below the recommended fees, definitely there will be independence, maybe in threat. If yes, the reason why you are taking. There are some exceptions where may be allowed as per the ICA guideline. Then you'll have to see that also. Has the PU being statutory auditor of a client rendered any services to the same client as mentioned in 144 of the Companies Act? So there are certain services you should not render as a statutory auditor to the same client. If you are rendering, then if yes, the reason for why you have been doing this. If you are an incoming auditor of an entity, then follow the ICA direction not to accept the assignment of the auditor in the case of unjustified removal of the previous auditor. Either you are done, you have seen that you are done in taking the approval of the last auditor, the reason for that. So here, if you see the all the guidelines are important as far as your independence is concerned, as well as the audits assignments are concerned of the PO. Okay. Now let's go to the next. Whether your firm has been reviewed by Quality Review Board (QRB), Financial FRB, FRRB, any regulator. If yes, then you have to specify the details of that. Year of review, name of the entity, maybe the QRB, FRBB, FRRB, or any other regulator, NAFRA or whosoever maybe. Then broad description of the deficiencies by them and the date of submission of compliance report to that respect. If they are come out with the deficiencies in the reporting, then you have to make the compliances and give the submission to that respect, to the respect to authorities. That is, then you have to give the narrating the details as well. Have any government bodies, authorities evaluated the performance of the firm to the extent of debarment or blacklisting? If yes, if action is taken in that respect, you have to mention that also. Now that was the part one, part B 1, 2. Now part 3, acceptance and continuous of client relationship and specific engagement. There are 6 parts. Now here you have to again go through the details, various points, whether the PO documents the decision taken relating to acceptance and continuous of client relationship or engagements. There are different questions related to your clients, acceptance of clients and continuation of client relationship. All these points will evaluate that how you accept the clients, how you continue the client, what details have been taken from them when you have been accepting the clients or taking the clientship, regular year-wise updations from the clientels, what data you are taking, okay, how has the client engagement acceptance has been documented, what is the scope of work, what type of assignment has been given to you, okay, whether they have been properly documented or not, okay. Then which of the following processes does the PU have in place when accepting and or deciding the continuation of client relationship? You may have accepted, but whether you want to continue with that client or not, because there are various standards. Individual standards have been evaluated, been formulated by even the firms also, with PUs also. So usage of clients acceptance, engagement acceptance, checklist. Okay, now there the details are here. Then obtaining and evaluating the relevant information before accepting the client. You have to understand the profile of the client also. He may be having some plus and minuses. So whether your firm as a PU, whether you want to accept such client or not, he may be having some other type of activities which you may not be liking, or you may not having the experience in that field also. So do you want to go with that or not? So it's a choice of a PU before acceptance. But how whether you have documented this or not in performing the background checks of the business, AMP sister concerns, he may be saying, the client may be coming to you and saying that I am having this type of business. But before accepting that assignment or the audit assignment or the assurance assignment, certification work, do you really do the background checks or not? You really having that type of business activity or not? So for that, what the PU is doing, considering the integrity of the client, that is also important. Communicating the previous auditor, that's important. Communication with the previous auditor is important. Whether that client may have had done the audit, previous year's audit, or the assurance work from some other CA. So do we have the communication with the previous auditor? What he is recommended as per the professional standards are concerned? Evaluating the risk of providing services to this client, which the firm's objectivity and independence may be impaired. If you are taking this client on board for audit purposes or assurance purposes, there may be possibility that your independence may be impaired because of that relationship. So whether this can be taken or not, whether all KYC norms issued by IC are been fulfilled. Okay. Then who is evaluating this information? Who is giving the final approval for this acceptance or policy procedures, the acceptance and continuance of the client engagement? that name of that partner. Okay, what procedures have been taken in place for assessing the capacity before taking the assignment engagement of the client. Okay, you have to make the detail which is from specific industry, maybe having this sufficient personnel, evaluate whether the firm is having sufficient personnel of that type, the capacity to execute that type of work, whether that type of experience of the firm is also there or not before taking such assignments. Okay, then individuals meeting with the criteria and eligibility requirement to perform this engagement is there or not. It should be evaluated. Assessment that the firm would be able to complete this engagement within the agreed deadline, because take the example of statutory bank audits. You are just given 7 8 days or 10 days time. If you don't have sufficient HR staff having the knowledge and experience of doing the statutory bank branch audit, then probably you may be given the assignment, you may get the allotment, but you may not be able to justify the work because the deadlines, 10 days or 7 days deadlines within which you have to complete the work may not be fulfilled by you. So before that, you will have to make that assessment of your own firm. It is PU. And does the PU prepare the engagement letter, documenting this, understanding with the client? What is the engagement letter? It should be documented properly, the scope, type, all the activities. Is the engagement letter signed by the client also? Whether the client signature is on engagement letter is important. Has the PU withdrawn from the engagement or the relationship during the period of review? If yes, then what is the reason? What may be there may be some issues, some maybe some points, problems. If yes, the number of clients, the year of withdrawal, and the reason for withdrawal for all the clients has to be mentioned over there. So this will give the idea to the reviewer that the PU, functioning of PU at the quality levels. Did the PU face any issues relating to acceptance or continuance of the client relationship and specific engagement during the period of review? If he is facing anything, non-receipt of fees, or there may be clashing of for certain reasons, or what it may be, there may be a number of issues may come up in the relationship. If yes, then how they have been resolved? Is there any mechanism followed for resolving these issues? Or sometimes you leave the assignment, it's a withdrawal that we have seen above. Sorry. So that we'll have to find out over and will be documented. Who has the custody of such documents? If any resolution has been done, what way the resolution has been resolved, what is the procedure followed, they are documented, and who is in custody of this document. Then HR. Okay, which of the process does the PU have in place for managing the human resource? Here comes the designated individuals is there for the HR management. Okay, entire HR function. There should be a partner should be designated for the management of HR functioning. There are now here comes a lot of things as far as HR is concerned. Okay, now it is from the induction till the training, evaluation, everything, appraisal, everything. How frequently the person is evaluating these processes, the personal needs, requirement of the HR of the PU, formal documented process of hiring the PUs, hiring the personnel by PU, then establishing the criteria, what type of people will be hired, okay, their quality, qualifications, experiences, attributes, okay, experiences to be hired, experience based on which they are to be hired. So additional procedure required for performing background checks. They may be giving some testimonies, but whether their performance has been evaluated properly, been checked, and it will, whether joining checklist is maintained properly. Whenever you are onboarding any of the personnel, that is students or qualified audit. So what is the checklist? Does the firm maintain the and monitor the employees turnover ratio? How many people are coming? How many staffs are going out? And whether they are minimal? Okay. Then the firms maintain. Does the firm maintain a minimum staff to partner ratio, or one partner, how many staff should be there, partner to manager, manager to articles. So these ratios based on the size of the firm that you are maintaining or not that. Then the consideration, following the consideration, I have to place and select engagement partner and team required for an engagement. Understanding the role of PU's quality control and code of ethics issued by the institute, ensuring the integrity of the accounting, auditing, and attest function to user of the reports. That's important because these are vital documents, vital data. So what is the quality control mechanism over here? Then performance supervision and reporting aspects of the engagement, which ordinarily are gained through training or participating in similar engagement. So how the personnel have been trained, how they have been given the familiarity with the different types of engagements. Then industry-wise, different clients are there, so that requires different type of experiences. It has its own engagement risk also. So what way the professionals of the staffs have been trained and they've been given the training, okay. Then adequate mix of the personnel, some seniors, some juniors, some experience in the different IT field, some experience maybe in the specific field of the client, some people experts in the auditing part, taxing part. So like the entire mix of the audit team has to be evaluated properly. How does the auditee uses information technology and the manner in which the information systems have been used to record the maintained financial statement. Here we'll have to see the technology used by the PU and the clients also, the auditee also, and based on that you have to design the team. If the auditee is experts using the technology oriented systems, they are completely IT based, then your team should have the people like that. So whether you are doing that way or not, the team size is designed or the team mix is designed accordingly, that or not. Their capabilities and competencies to be evaluated by the concerned head of the firm. Does the PO have the policy for assigning responsibility for engagement to an engagement partner? So whether the engagement partner will assign the entire duty for that specific work or not, for that engagement or not. If yes or no, or who there is only one person or there have been different, that has to be mentioned. So that that concerned person will be questioned according to that part. So regular updation of the personnels through various programs, CPRs programs, or maybe training programs, orientation training programs. Okay, and it may not be only the technical topics, but also like AI, blockchain, audit data analyticals. Okay, so and it will be sponsored, whether they are sponsored by the PUs or not. Okay, sending them for seminars, various seminars, updation for updation purposes, self development programs, group discussion, mock test, presentation. These are all the techniques whether being used by PU for updating their teams or the HR. Okay, this is all related to PR, sorry, HR upgradation and their performance evaluation and advancement policy for star performances. They may be promoted, may be paid higher, what it may be. Then engagement performance. Now this is related to engagement performance. Now does the PU have a plan for performing engagements in accordance with the professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements? If yes, and now the questionnaires are there. The roles and responsibilities given to personnel. Okay, their background information check, and planning, staffing. Okay, and checklist for relevant rules, regulations which are been related to the engagement requirements. Okay, industry specific information, nature, structure. Okay, pre-assignment meetings before the persons have been sent to the audit or assignment, they're listening meeting and making them understand the entire processes, then documenting the audit preparation, then collection of the audit documents, then if there's any risk areas, how the risk can be mitigated. Okay, preparing standardized forms, checklists, templates. Okay, to be used in performance engagements. Okay, Then the engagement partner to be keeping the track of audit findings. It has to be negotiated. Then those charged with these things with the governance will have to be updated on a regular basis. Okay, then qualified team members review is to be done. They should be documented. It should be documented by the PU for supervision of the work performed. Then most probably things will be maintained on the electronic mode or physical mode. It is to be record to be maintained. Tools they be used. What tools the PU is using, maintaining for the working electronic forms. Okay, these are all related to engagement. Now, how these have been authorized, how their performance are using, the data have been stored, the confidentiality of the data, hard copies of the data, because that will be required for the PU, for the peer reviewer to be reviewed. So whether they have been maintained properly, whether scanned, whatever the conclusions have been derived by the report, before concluding the reports, the documents have been reviewed by these things. So all the details will have to be maintained properly as far as the reviews are being concerned. I'm just going a bit fast because we have a bit lesser time, and there were our last point has to be 2 3 points has to be dealt. So now we'll have to evaluate these engagement policies. Then engagement of quality assurance reviewers. Okay, is there any engagement quality assurance reviewers have been appointed by this thing PU also or not? It may be a managing partner, senior partner, technical who is having the technical expertise. So whether the performance has been reviewed by this reviewer or not. Okay, in certain cases it is required. And then the sixth part in the part B is the monitoring. Does the PO has a policy and procedures to confirm on the adequacy and relevance of the quality control procedure adopted? What are the quality control procedures and policies and procedures have been adopted by the PO? Are they in adequate, are adequate or not, or they need to go beyond that, they have to improve it? That has to be understood from this questionnaire. And who is responsible to evaluate? Okay, how frequently is to be evaluated? What revisions have to be made? These are all to be documented, regularly reviewed, and then evaluated over a period of time, depending upon the type of clientele which you are auditing. Then, which of the following monitoring procedures the PO has in place for the quality control? Designated partner for performing annual inspection. Okay, then detailed inspection documentation, reviewing the correspondence with the summary inspection report. See, all these are related to your procedures, monitoring procedures. And then there will be name, signature of the partner. So this is the questionnaire part B. Okay. Now the question part A and part B is to be filled in detail and has to be submitted by the PU along with Form 1 to the review board. This will make you understand, the peer reviewer understand what exactly is the profile of the practicing unit. Based on that, you have to plan the review work, peer review work, time requirement, sample selections, procedures to be followed in evaluating the work of the PU. All will be decided by the reviewer based on all these things. So let us one last is review. Okay, there is audit quality maturity model. AQMM is there, which is the part C, though it is not as of this is mandatory only in certain cases. But now what AQMM is? Okay, this is the last part. AQMM, the practice management assurance. This is a scoring. It's a 600 mark scoring, which is self-evaluation to be done by the PU for three criteria. One is section 1 is practice management assurance. Second is human resource management, and digital competence is technology oriented. So in one section 1, work flow manuals, quality control, checklists, templates, and physical infrastructure. For that, 370 marks are there, and you need to score minimum 30%. I will come the evaluation criteria also. Then for section 2, human resource management, the resource planning, performance evaluation, and compensation. And digital competency, technology adoption, and IT infrastructure. Now 370, 150, and 80 are the total 600 marking is there. And minimum score is 30-30. If you score minimum marks, now see the level where you stand. If your firm scores less than 30 marks, then nascent level. Immediate steps required to upgrade yourself. It's nothing, you are not up to the mark. Level 2, notable progress, needs fine tuning. That is 50 to 70%. 70% to 85% substantial progress. Focus on refining practices. And level 4, 85 to 100% matured quality control. Focus on optimization. Now, this will give the idea. It's a self-evaluation AQMM model where you can evaluate yourself, but you find out yourself where you stand. What is the standards, the maturity level of audit quality maturity level is there at your firm. This is just a briefing idea. Based on these levels, you can evaluate the your own firm for the purpose of standards or quality standards. Okay. Now, in conclusion, practicing unit and peer review are essential for maintaining the professional standards. And you know, based on this, how you are been maintaining your professional standards. They ensure quality, transparency, and trust in financial reporting, ensure audit quality, and compliance with the ICA standard. Now, peer review is important for all these purposes. Now, friends, members try to understand it is necessary that everyone has to undergo the peer review now. Don't bother about the compliance mandatory or not. You need to understand, you as a chartered accountant, you are performing audit or assurance services which is been interested, for which there is a number of stakeholders are interested. So your work will be reviewed by so many things, so many people. So you need to maintain the standard quality. And the peer review itself is a process where our own member is coming at our office and evaluating our level of quality level, which will helpful us to understand in depth about the different levels of standards which you are following, the quality services that you are providing, and we can have our own improvement done in that respect. I think this is something from my side. Madam, Dipti, madam, over to you. If there is any question, we can take up.
Yes, thank you very much, sir, for so informative session. I hope every member would have key takeaways from today's session. Requesting all the members, if there are any questions, can tech team help us to get the questions from chat if there is a different chat for other link. Please, members can pour in their questions if any. Sir is available to answer.
Is there anything in chart?
In this chat, there are no questions. Tech team, can you please help us to understand whether there are any questions? Yes, sir. There is one question. The peer review is for 2023 to 2026. Please guide us to what we understand by 2026 as the year is yet to over.
A peer review period will be taken for the last 3 years when you are applying. If you are signed the any of the reports for 25-26, okay. So can you just repeat the question? They are asking for the peer review period.
Peer reviews for 2023 to 2026. Please
Yeah,
guide us to
23-26.
what we understand by 2026 as the year is yet to over.
Then it will be for the 3 financial years for which you already signed the reports. So you must have signed for 22-23, 23-24, 24-25. If you are not signing any report or any assurance services certification has not been done in 25-26, so it won't be possible in that situation. That's my opinion. because there is no signature in that test function or audit function has been done in 25-26. So what are the attest functions or assurance services has been performed in relation to that financial year 24-25? If you are done in 25-26, maybe in September, October, November, December, if you are done some services, then that will be taken into consideration. Okay. Otherwise, for financial year per se 25-26, you are not done any certification audit function. If you have done something, then that will be covered. So you have to see from 23-24, whatever the signing has been done, 23-24, 24-25, 25-26. In 25-26, whatever the certification has been done or attest function has been done, audit function has been completed, or reports have been signed, that will be covered in that period. It doesn't mean that 25-26 is over just now, nothing has been done. But for 25-20, 24-25, you have completed the audit reporting in this year. So those reports will have to be evaluated in this. That's my opinion. Anything else?
So I'm
Hello?
looking for the questions. So I'm looking for the questions. Give
Yeah,
me
yeah,
a moment.
yeah, yeah, please.
How the peer review process helped overall quality of audit function?
And that's important. Peer review will it's a mechanism through which our member, who is a qualified chartered accountant and also undergone the process through which he has been empaneled by the peer review board, will come at your place and find out the entire processes that be done by you as far as audit is concerned, and he will guide you. He will be, it's a sort of a self evaluation by our member of the audit of the PU. So if at all, if any regulator comes and do the evaluation of your audit, it is always better that we as a peer reviewer, the member of the institute, going to our members office and evaluating the performance, so that we can guide them what are the areas deficiencies or the possible violations, if at all, if anything is there or any threats are there which can be mitigated, what the improvements are possible. So this will help the PU to enhance their levels, upgrade their standards, which may be missing at their level. There may be certain documentation which may not be maintained. So we can ask them to maintain the documentation as far as the audits are concerned, or which any of the areas, any of the policy documentations may not be available. So we may ask them to prepare this documentation if at all if it is not there. So before taking this review by the regulators or other outsiders, it is always better that we should have a review done from our own member who is well qualified in the same field and doing the same area, same services. So it is always advisable to have this peer review, which will help them.
So there is one very helpful question for all the CAs who might be in this session. Firstly, sir, it is mandatory for sole proprietor to get this peer review first.
So, absolutely, there is nothing like mandatory. If you are doing an attest function, then definitely it will be required. If you are not doing any attest function, see, there is a criteria. Assurance services attestation. Now, category 4 is going to be get covered under the. It was 1 1 January 2020, which is temporary for the timing is deferred. But even in that circumstance, also you will be required to go with the peer review later on once it becomes mandatory for category 4 also. The phase 4, that is what we call. But even if the individual person, the individual proprietor, chartered accountant, practicing chartered accountant, if he is providing the assurance and agreement, the auditing and assurance services to any of the listed company, definitely he has to go. He has to follow this peer review guideline.
Uh,
There's no option.
one question attached to this is if a firm is a proprietary concern and they have peer reviewed 1 year back. and now they want to convert into a partnership firm without losing the peer review certificate. And the questionnaire is a auditor of a listed entity and hence cannot forego the peer review certificate issued to the sole proprietor. What is the procedure to be followed if they are converting from sole proprietor to partnership, whether the peer review certificate issued to sole proprietor will be valid for a partnership firm?
I may not be the final authority on this because peer review board will take all the calls. But in my opinion, what I am suggesting that if it is a conversion of proprietary firm to partnership firm, okay, so they may not lose, in my opinion, they not lose the certification, but they will have to apply to the review board with all the details. And if at all the peer review board may ask them, because now there is incoming of partners, additional partners are there, the size may
Mummy,
change, firm may change.
mummy.
So they may have to, they may ask him to undergo once it again depends. So it will have to approach the peer review board only, and they will give a final concluding answer on this point. But in my opinion, they will not lose this certificate, but there may be some additional requirements maybe there which will have to follow as far as the peer review board is concerned. They will guide them on the issue.
One question is whether peer review applicable to conduct internal audit of employees cooperative credit societies.
Peer review, can you repeat?
Peer review applicable Whether peer review applicable to conduct internal audit of employees cooperative credit societies.
Peer review. I think the question
Yes,
is something. The peer
it
review
seems
is
to be some incomplete.
because
It,
peer review is of a practicing chartered accountants. It's been done by
yes,
done by
that.
practicing chartered accountants. Um, no, in case
Uh,
if you are doing a audit of a cooperative society, something like that, there
so
may be
there
in
is
the
no
phase four. There may
clarification.
be in phase four. There may be in phase four. So that question is not properly understood.
Okay. What is the validity of the certificate, so they are asking? If some firm gets peer reviewed, so the validity of that peer review is
Normally,
for
normally
one.
3 years. Normally 3 years,
Okay.
but depends. Otherwise, it's all other cases 3 years, but depends on that. It's 18 months also. New firms, then depends.
One more question is how to rate a firm if some of the partners have been under review of a disciplinary committee.
How to rate the firms?
Hmm. If some of the partner is under review of a disciplinary committee,
No, no, but who is
is it
going to is it a reviewer has to rate, or what? Or they are
the
asking for any qualification to be
category?
mentioned?
There is a condition na, that partners count of partners is to be considered to select a firm category of firm. As per the category, the phrase is applicable to firms, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they are asking in that term ki if partner is under disciplinary committee, whether he is to be counted or how the category of firm will be fixed for peer review. It seems like
He
this
is
they are
not
asking.
removed. He is not removed. Till he is not removed, no problem.
Okay.
No? Till he is
Okay.
not removed, there is no problem.
So just going through the questions, there are many common questions
Yeah,
that have been asked.
yeah.
There is one question: if we are conducting tax audit of listed entity but not statutory audit of any listed entity, is AQMM as per Part C of Form 1 is applicable? If they are conducting tax audit of listed entity,
We are
not a statutory
conducting
audit.
tax audit. 1 minute. audit is under the any of the statute, okay, then AQMM will be compulsory. So whether this tax audit will be under the statute or not, that will have to answer. In my opinion, they will have to go under the Income Tax Act. They may be conducting. So
AQMM
in
will
my
be
opinion,
applicable to
AQMM will
them.
be, in my opinion, it will be applicable
Okay.
because all these are covered. All the audits are covered under the that category only. Audit and assurance services.
Okay. Okay, sir. That's
Done with
also
questions.
yes.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate the all the participants have been interacted through questionnaires, and really thankful to the peer review board and the chairman Vishnu Agarwal sir, and giving this opportunity to interact with the members on this important topic because that's the foundation, laying stone for the peer review process, Form 1 and the detailed questionnaire to understand the profile. Thank you very much for the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you,
Thank you.
team, all the back office and chairperson and vice chairperson of the peer review board for allowing us and taking this informative session for all our members. Thank you. Meet you soon, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye.